job today. The cable is running across the solar panels, which are just behind the mound. You can see behind me. The cable has been installed for about a week, somewhere around there. So useful not to have the Ecoflow Delta Pro outside. To give you some context, where you're stood right now is where the solar panels were living before, and where I was doing my test for the Ecoflow Delta Pro in the week before last, I think. But yeah, the cable's kind of getting in the way of mowing the lawn, and it's a straight run across the lawn here to the solar panels. So I'm just going to dig, well, not really dig, just cut a little slit in the ground and took the cable into it. So yeah, quick time lapse, I think. Alright, so this slit will be completely invisible in a few weeks' time, and I think I'll have a hard job pulling it out if I wanted to, but it is possible to do. Yeah, now I can mow the lawn. As you can see here, my solar panels have been breeding. So with the extra cable, I've noticed quite significant losses. I wasn't surprised by that by any means, although it was a little higher than I was expecting. So before the cable, when the Ecoflow Delta Pro was plugged directly into the solar panels, I was seeing, on a really nice day, 800 to maybe 850 watts, sort of at the best, so midday optimum, and that was fine. But on a not so nice day, I was maybe seeing 200 to 300 watts, which, while you have nothing plugged into it, will charge the battery very nicely within the day. If you then have a computer that's drawing 150 watts, which would be a laptop and a couple of monitors, you would not charge the battery at all in the day and power the equipment. So your day would be running off solar, but the evening when I'm playing, not so much. So on a cloudy day, I'd perhaps see 150 to 200 watts. However, having added the cable, that dropped about 200 watts, so I was seeing 650-ish watts, which works out to be about 20%. It's not insignificant, especially when the solar panels you have are just about right on a good day to do what I want. So I've not able to get the solar panels I wanted. So the original 4 are the 4 in the middle that are a bit shorter. They are 235 watts. I'm sorry, I do not know the brand. They came unlabeled. The new panels, which are the 2 on the edge and the 3 on the ground, they've got an extra row of panels of the solar cells inside the panel, and they are 260 watts, but they have the same open circuit voltage. They have about half an amp more per panel, but because I'm mixing the 2 panels, I'm just going to treat them all as 235 watts. So theoretically, calculating everything, so all panels at maximum, is 2,740 watts total. However, because it's the mix, that would more likely 2,115. And after the 20% losses, so where the Ecoflow Delta Pro picks it up, you're probably looking at a maximum of 1692 watts, which is what the Ecoflow Delta Pro's solar charge controller can bring in. Unfortunately, when I was talking to support, they recommended the open circuit voltage should not exceed the 150 volts that their solar charge controller is recommended. And these solar panels have a open circuit voltage of 3.78 volts. So 4 of them in series in a string would put me at about 160 volts, so 10 volts too high. So their advice was to have 3 of them in series, and I have done that. So I've got 3 in series and 3 strings in series in parallel. So that will give me roughly 90 volts open circuit across all 3 panels when I've measured it with a amp meter. At theoretically 8.5 amps each. Maths just from my head's not great at that, but somewhere around 30 amps, which is more than the Ecoflow Delta Pro will absorb, but that's fine because it will only absorb what it can take, and that will go down over time as the battery gets fuller as well. So that balances out quite well. I do have that circuit breaker as well at 16 amps, so that should be completely fine as well. So yeah, in terms of what I'm actually seeing, the most I've seen at the Ecoflow Delta Pro is about 1350 watts, and that's even sustained as well. So I was really pleased with that. That will charge the battery and run both my computers. And just because my battery was full, I actually ran some Bitcoin mining on my computers just to try and use some of that energy, and still it wasn't even touching the current that I could bring in on these solar panels. So I am really happy. So these new panels, I do actually know what they are. They are REC 260PE panels. They are second-hand. They came off a this is what I've been told, they came off a solar farm that blew over in Durham earlier this year in the windstorms we had. And unfortunately the insurance wrote off the entire site and replaced them all. But that then means they're available to me. I picked these up on Facebook Marketplace. There's a guy called Jason based in Blackburn, and that's where I picked them up. It's not too far from me, and I am really pleased with these things. Even on an overcast day like today, I would kind of expect to see 300 to 600 watts quite comfortably, and that will do me happily. The temptation is to go and buy some more, but I don't need that at the moment. Maybe if we get another one, we'll see. Alright, I've really enjoyed talking to people who've been leaving comments. I've been asked some really interesting questions and some really interesting things I could do to test my Ecoflow Delta Pro, and I would like to try out some of those. So if you have any other ideas, please post them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and if you want us to like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that too. I'm not sponsored by Ecoflow. There's no money here at all. It's just me playing with solar panels and a battery. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Yeah, so right, I'll speak to you in the comments. Take care.